This is part 5 of Blender Challenge 13, modeling an isometric room. And tonight I have time just to make one piece. And the piece I'm going to be making is this thing back here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this middle piece and adding a subdivision surface, I think. And this piece, I'm not going to be doing a subdivision surface. And we'll do Boolean to cut out these little holes where the screws or the bolts would go. So here's what I think we will do. I'm going to bring my 3D cursor right there. So I've selected that face, Shift S, cursor is selected. I'm going to deselect and go back into object mode. So my 3D cursor is right there. So I'm going to bring in a plane, go into edit mode, and scale it down some. Rotate X 90. I'll just push it out. And we'll just work around there. Let's see actually where that's positioned. It's pretty much right underneath those. So I'm just going to bring it in and get the approximate position for that thing. That's the scale. And just start getting it. Okay, work roughly there. Okay, I'm going to Shift H to focus just on that. And we're going to look at that. And let's set the origin to the geometry and even bring the 3D cursor right there. So right on that plane there. Okay, so let's go to edit mode. And I think the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to, let's right click and subdivide a bunch of times. Okay, so I'm going to start subdividing. And once it gets up, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to look for. I'm going to want to make 2 holes like this and 2 smaller holes like that to then simulate a circle. So I just want to see how many I need. I want to go on opposite sides of this and leave a space in between. So if I do it there, let's deselect. And I can do this again if need be. If I was to select, see that much there. Do that again. That much. And then I was to select this much. I'll do the same on the other side. Or you could mirror it. See if that gives me what I would need. I could try that. So I'm going to X faces. Alright, so I have that. Let's try that and put on subdivision surface 2. So making this piece here. Okay, now I'm going to select all of that. I'm going to press E and S. And come on out. I can do that more if I need. Now, I want to make this look a little bit more like a circle. Now, one of the things you can do is you can actually bring in a circle, mesh, circle, doesn't matter how many vertices. I just want to use this as a guide. Let's scale it down. Rotate X 90. Something like this. Okay, again, just as a guide. So go back in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start selecting some points. These points, and I'm going to scale these in the Z. Now I'm in individual origins. Make sure you're in median point. SZ. So it looks like they follow a circle. Alright. If I zoom in on this real far, these middle ones look a little bit like they're angled down just a bit. So I'm going to select these points, scale Z. We're kind of off the circle, but I'm just trying to be relatively even. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to come to, let's say, these points. And let's try scaling these in the X and bringing them out just a little to match that. I might need another edge here in the middle. Let's just look at that. Let's hide that. Yeah, okay, so that's not too nice right there. So let's now just manipulate. Let's take these points here and these points here, and let's bring them in. S, X. Bring them in a little bit. And let's think about maybe another edge here and another edge there, so I can get that vertice or vertex in that one. SX, pull them out just a little bit. Hold down Shift. Okay. All right, and then from there, it's just a question of trying to get a nice shape. So I'm going to go SX and pull them in, or am I going to pull them out? Pull them out a bit. A little bit in. That kind of thing. Now, if I want to, I could put an edge loop right down the middle, and I can, I don't really need to be in wireframe, I guess. I can just select all of these and delete them. I'm going to add a mirror. I'm going to turn on clipping, and I'm going to bring it up. And now I can just do one side, and the nice thing is I can see here what I do here. So what do I need to do? Maybe I need to take these, scale these in the Z a little bit. Is that rounding it a bit? And that one. I'm looking over here. Scale those in the Z. And pull them out a little bit. All right. You get the idea. Okay, so let's save that. I've got that piece. Now what I'm going to do is I think I'll go ahead and apply the mirror. Let's just come in and M, merge by distance, just in case. And close that. And let's give this a bit of thickness with solidify. I'll just bring that up. Okay. That's probably okay. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And then I'm going to come back in. And I'm going to bring an edge loop up like this on all these pieces. I'm not doing it exactly even. I'll do that. Let's shade smooth. And I'll take this. I'm going to look from the side. And I'm going to go into wireframe and B to box select. Just get the back and go X faces. Delete those back faces. And I've got that piece. And that's probably okay. You can spend more time to get this a little bit more round if you feel the need, if it seems a little bit off. In this case, now that I've got thickness, I would need to go into wireframe, number one, and I could grab pieces like this, and you could, you want to do them on both sides. I think I'll probably leave that. My 3D cursor is still right in the middle, so I'm going to bring in another plane, rotate X90, scale it down. Just going to pull it back a little bit so I can see. And this is going to be this part here. So I'm just going to hit S to scale. Just double check how I want this. Yeah, something like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press I to inset, pull in to about the middle there, and X faces, delete that. And what I'll do now is I'll take this and I'm going to E to extrude and extrude backwards, and S to scale, come out like that. And I think what I'll also do is take this and E to extrude and just pull it in like that. And with that edge selected, I'm going to go Control plus so I get the inside edge and this one. And I'm just going to scale it in a bit more. I want to round these corners, so I'm going to Shift Alt and click there so I get the entire edge. That's this piece and this piece all the way around. I'm going to bevel this. Okay, so take those, Control B, pull, and let's go roll our mouse up till I have 1, 2, 3, maybe something like that. Same thing for this edge and this edge. Control B, I'll use the same amount. Shade smooth. I just want to have a look at this. Okay. Now I can take this whole thing and scale it in just a little bit more. Make sure it looks like it fits. And I think I will pull it forward. And hopefully that looks okay so far. I'm going to create the little holes in this now. I'm going to bring in a cylinder. I'm going to leave it at the default values. I'm not really worried about my poly count. In this case, rotate X90. I'm going to pull it up here. I may exaggerate the size a little bit here. Make it a little bit bigger. Let's look in wireframe. See that it's pushing in. I may have some problems doing a Boolean with this open back. Let's find out. So I'm going to set the origin to the 3D cursor. Now it'll allow me to mirror this over like that. And let me mirror this in the Z as well. So I now have those bolts everywhere. I'm going to apply that mirror. Before I go on, I want to make sure that everything is blue. All the polys are facing the right ways. Let's take this piece here and Boolean difference with respect to the cylinders. Let's go ahead and apply and take these pieces and just hide them. Okay, so I got some weird stuff going on. So I'm going to back out of that until that turns red. I'm going to take this and select that edge here. I have to make a face just for now. And I'm going to try that again. Okay. Oops. Click apply. Take these H to hide. I now have circles. I can now come back in here and delete that face. And don't need to delete the box. Not worried about shading yet. Okay. Number 2 for edge selection. Shift Alt and click and see how well I can get this. I didn't. It was a very ugly Boolean here. I've got all this extra stuff. Let's do a test. Let's deselect that and have just that. Let's do a test. Control B, pull. I should be able to bevel this if I'm careful. Okay, so I could mirror this, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to go around and select all the outer edges here, and then deselect this stuff. All right, so I got that. Good, one more. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this works. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Control B. Pull. Roll my mouse back to 0. Put 1, 2, 3. Okay, with that done, I'm now going to come over. I'm going to add bevel. I'm going to choose angle, and I might up the count a little bit, maybe even 3. And then I'll come over. I'll try weighted normal, and here auto smooth. And there's my panel there. Okay, Alt H to bring everything back. I'm going to take this. Oh, let's get rid of this guiding circle here. All right, let's take these and this for the moment. Shift H and just focus on that. Let's use these to make the bolts. I'm going to switch over to individual origin, and that way I'll be able to, if I go S, I can scale each of these bolts. See the way they're all changing? So I can do that. Do something like that. And then I'm going to scale these in the Y, SY. And then I'm just going to move them in like this. And then I'm going to select this outer face, holding down Shift on each of them. And I will now Control B, pull, and do something like this to round them off. And let's do shade smooth, see how that looks. Maybe they're recessed in a little bit too much. So I'll pull them out like that. And see how I like that. They might be a little small. I'm going to go back in. I'm in individual origins. I'm just going to go S. Just pull them out a bit. Like that. Alt H. Bring that back. Okay. I'm going to select this piece, and that piece, and M to make a new collection. I'm going to call it, do I have panel? No, I'm going to call it panel. So I've got that as a collection. That's quite large, so let's have another look here. I'll scale that down. So it looks like it goes in between these pipes here. About to the halfway point or so. So there's my panel. It's one way of doing it anyhow, but I think that does pretty much what I need to do. Let me just double check. This is a little bit more rounded, and so if I wanted to, if I wasn't happy with that amount of roundness, I could repeat that, with a, let's bring the 3D cursor there. I could just start again with another plane. Maybe this time I would select those vertices, Shift Control B, make it nice and round like that perhaps. Take this I'd inset. You gotta be careful when you do that because you don't want them to cross. Bring them in a little bit like that, and then S to scale. I can go ahead and delete that face, and then I can adjust. So I end up doing the same thing again. Extrude it back, scale it out like this. Take this edge, extrude it back to give it a little bit of depth coming down. Shift Alt and click that edge and that edge. bevel again, like this, shade smooth. I can add bevel and stuff later. I'm just gonna redo that to show you if I used a different shape. I'll just hide that. Focus, let's grab those Shift H. I'll just scale it a bit. Let's bring it back. Everything's looking good. And let's see, maybe I could use these pieces to do a Boolean. If I grab them, I'm going to Shift D to duplicate them in case I decide I want to go back. I'm just going to bring this forward. Let's just have a look at these. I could take these and scale them in the Y and then push them in and use them to make a Boolean on this thing. Alright, I'll go ahead and do that. So I'll take this piece, Boolean difference with respect to that, but I don't have a back on it, so I'm gonna come back out and I'm gonna take that and Shift H, and I'm going to temporarily close this piece off. Bring stuff back. Okay, so I'll take that piece, like that, and apply, and then we'll take just this piece, I think, and Shift H, and let's have a look at this. I can now get rid of the back there, and I would do the same thing as I did before. So I'll just do that real quick. I'm going to add a bevel on an angle, bring this up a bit, add a weighted normal, and auto smooth. Alt H, go into object mode or edit mode on this. I'm in individual origins, so I can S and I can scale these. I can scale them in the Y. Bring them back in a bit. I think I'll duplicate this just to show you how it would be. I'm going to S to scale it. No, I'm not. And I will select this and this and this, and I will move this to a new collection. I'll call this panel 2. And I will move it off to the side. Now, just to show, I could do another one pretty quick. And yeah, I think I like that one better. So I'm going to delete this stuff. And over here, I'm going to delete that collection. I'll come back here and I'll just call this panel. Now I can select that, so perhaps I like that one better. It might be a little bit big, so I'll do that. So there you go. And that one works just fine as well. I will say there are some issues with doing Boolean on this. To create the bevel on the hole is not quite as nice. I've got these edges that go all over the place, and you want to be careful about beveling out and hitting that. It's all right, I think, the way it is, but you do need to be careful about that. So there's always problems when you do Booleans if you're not careful. But that's what I've got. All right, there's the panel. And hopefully it looks okay. All right, so that's what I'm going to do in this video, and in the next video we'll move on and we'll continue to model parts of this.